The Second Discourse of Great Seth, translated by Marvin Meyer. Perfect majesty is at rest in ineffable light, in truth, the mother of all things. Since I alone am perfect, all you attain to me on account of this world. For I dwell with all the majesty of the Spirit, who is a friend equally to us and to our kin. I have uttered a discourse for the glory of our Father, through his goodness and imperishable thought, and this word comes from him. It is a matter fit for slavery to say, we shall die with Christ, which means with imperishable and undefiled thought. What an incomprehensible wonder! The scripture regarding the ineffable water in use among us in this word, I am in you and you are in me, just as the Father is in me and in you, with no guile at all. Let's call together an assembly. Let's examine this creation of his and send someone, just as he also examined thoughts in the regions below. I said this to all the members of the whole vast assembly of the Majesty, so that they rejoiced, and the entire household of the Father of Truth rejoiced. Since I am of them, I reminded them of the thoughts that had come from the undefiled Spirit, and had descended to the water, that is, to the regions below. A single thought was in all of them, since it came from a single source. They expressed their decision to me, and I concurred, and went forth to reveal glory to my kin, my friends in spirit. Those in the world that had been prepared by the will of our sister Sophia, whose indiscretion was without guile. She was not sent out, nor did she request anything from the realm of the all, the majesty of the assembly and the fullness when she came to prepare homes and habitations for the child of light. From the elements below she derived collaborations to construct bodily dwellings for them, but in their vainglory they fell into ruin. Yet it was in these dwellings that those in the world came to live, and since they were prepared by Sophia, they are ready to receive the saving word of the ineffable one, and the majesty of the assembly of all those who are still in waiting, and those who are ready in me. I approached a bodily dwelling and evicted the previous occupant, and went in. The whole multitude of archons was upset, and all the material stuff of the rulers and the powers born of earth began to tremble at the sight of the figure with the composite image. I was in it, and I did not look like the previous occupant. He was a worldly person, but I am from above the heavens. I did not defy them, and I became an anointed one, but neither did I reveal myself to them in the love coming from me. Rather, I revealed that I am a stranger to the regions below. There was a great disturbance, with confusion and restlessness in the whole world in the council of the archons. Some were convinced when they saw the mighty deeds I had accomplished. They are of the generation of Adonos, and are descended from the one who fled from the throne to Sophia of Hope, since she had previously given indication about us and all those with me. They were all moving about. Others hurried to inflict every sort of punishment on me from the world ruler and his accomplices. They were restless of mind about what they would plot against me. They thought their majesty was everything, and they told lies about the human being and all the majesty of the assembly. They were incapable of knowing the Father of truth, the human being of majesty. They usurped the name through corruption and ignorance, through a flame of fire and a vessel created for the destruction of Adam, made to conceal all those who likewise are theirs. The rulers from the realm of Yaldabaoth disclosed the circuits of the angels. This is what humanity was seeking, that they might not know the true human form, for Adam the modeled creature appeared to them. So throughout their dwelling place there was agitation and fear that the angels surrounding them might take a stand against them. For those offering praise I died, though not really, that their archangel might be useless. Then the voice of the world ruler announced to the angels, I am God, and there is no other beside me. I laughed heartily when I reflected upon how conceited he was. He kept saying over and over, who is the human being? The whole host of his angels who had seen Adam in his dwelling place laughed at his insignificance. Thus their thought turned away from the heavenly majesty, who is the true human, whose name they perceived in the insignificance of a dwelling place. They are inferior, senseless in their empty thought, in their laughter, and so they were corrupted. The entire majesty of the fatherhood of the Spirit was at rest in his realms, and I was with him, since I have a thought of a single emanation from the eternal and unknowable ones, undefiled and immeasurable. I disturbed and frightened the whole multitude of angels and their rulers, and I placed a small thought in the world. I examined all with flame and fire through my thought, and all they did through me. There was trouble and strife around the seraphim and the cherubim, whose glory will perish, and commotion around Adonis on every side, and around their dwelling place, all the way to the ruler, who said, "Let us seize him." Others said, "This plan will never work," for Adanos knows me through hope. I was in the mouths of lions. They hatched a plot against me to counter the destruction of their error and foolishness, and I did not give in to them as they had planned. I was not hurt at all. Though they punished me, I did not die in actuality, but only in appearance, that I might not be put to shame by them, as if they are a part of me. I freed myself of shame, and I did not become faint-hearted because of what they did to me. I would have become bound by fear, but I suffered only in their eyes and thought, that nothing may ever be claimed about them. The death they think I suffered, they suffered in their error and blindness. They nailed their man to their death. Their thoughts did not perceive me, since they were deaf and blind. By doing these things they pronounced judgment against themselves. As for me, they saw me and punished me, but someone else, their father, drank the gall and the vinegar. It was not I. They were striking me with a scourge, but someone else, Simon, bore the cross on his shoulder. Someone else wore the crown of thorns, and I was on high, poking fun at all the excess of the rulers and the fruit of their error and conceit. I was laughing at their ignorance. I brought down all their powers into subjection. When I came down, no one saw me, for I kept changing my forms on high, transforming from shape to shape. So when I was at their gates, I assumed their likeness. I passed by them quickly. I saw their realms, but was not afraid or ashamed, because I was pure. I was speaking with them and mingling with them, those who are mine. Jealously I trampled on those who are harsh towards them, and I put out that fire. I was doing all this by my will, to complete what I willed in the will of the Father above. We brought the child of the majesty, hidden in the region below, to the height. There I am, in the aeons that no one has seen or understood, where the wedding of the wedding robe is. It is the new wedding, not the old, and it does not perish, for the new bridal chamber is of the heavens, and it is perfect. As I have revealed, there are 3 ways, and this is an undefiled mystery in the spirit of the eternal realms that is not destroyed or divided or even discussed, for it is indivisible, universal, and permanent. The soul from on high will not discuss error here or carry herself away from those realms that are here. She will be carried forth when she is liberated and treated nobly in the world, and she stands before the Father with no difficulty or fear, forever communing with the mind of ideal power. These will see me from every side with no animosity, for they see me and they are seen, mingling with them. They did not put me to shame, and they were not ashamed. They were not afraid in my presence, and they will pass by every gate without fear and be perfected in the 3rd glory. The world was not receptive to my visible exaltation, my 3rd immersion in an image that was perceptible. The flame of the 7 authorities was extinguished. The sun of the powers of the rulers set. Darkness overcame them, and the world became impoverished. They bound this one by many bonds and nailed him to the cross, and they secured him with 4 bronze nails. He ripped the temple veil with his own hands. An earthquake shook earth's chaos, for the souls of the dead were released and resurrected, and they walked out in the open. They laid aside ignorant jealousy and lack of insight by the dead tombs, and they put on the new person. They had come to know the blessed, perfect one of the eternal, incomprehensible Father and the infinite light. That is what I am. When I came to my own and united them with me, there was no need for many words. Our thought was one with their thought, so they understood what I was saying. We made plans for the destruction of the rulers, and in this I did the will of the Father. That is what I am. When we left our home and came down to this world and became embodied in this world, we were hated and persecuted both by those who were ignorant and by those who claimed to be enriched with the name of Christ, though they are vain and ignorant. Like irrational animals, they do not know who they are. They hate and persecute those whom I have liberated. If these people would only shut their mouths for once, they would start weeping and groaning in futility, because they have not really known me. Rather, they have served two masters, and even more. You, however, will be winners in everything, in combat, fights, and schism, with jealousy and anger. In the uprightness of our love we are innocent, pure, and good, and we have the mind of the Father, of an ineffable mystery. It was a joke, I tell you. It was a joke. The rulers do not know that all this ineffable unity of undefiled truth, like what it is among the children of light. They have imitated it, and they proclaim the doctrine of a dead man, along with false teachings that mock the freedom and purity of the perfect assembly. In their doctrine, they bind themselves to fear and slavery and worldly concerns and improper forms of worship, for they are ignorant and of no significance. They do not accept the nobility of truth. They hate the one whom they belong, and they love the one to whom they do not belong. They do not have the knowledge of the majesty that is from above, from the fountain of truth, and not from slavery, jealousy, fear, and love of the material world. Boldly and freely they make use of what is not theirs, and what is theirs. They do not covet because of their authority and their law that addresses what they desire. And those who are without the law are in dire straits. They do not have it, and still they desire. These people mislead folks who, through them, resemble those who have the truth of their freedom, so as to place us under a yoke and coerce us with anxiety and fear. One person is subject to bondage, another is controlled by God through threats and violent force. Noble people of the fatherhood, however, are not controlled, since they control themselves by themselves without command or force. They belong to the thought of the fatherhood, and they are one with their will, that the fatherhood may be perfect and expressible through the living water. Be wise among yourselves, not only in words that are heard, but also in deeds, in words that are fulfilled. In this way those who are perfect are worthy to establish and unite with me, and they will have no enmity. With good friendship I do everything through the one who is good, for this is the unity of truth, that people should have no adversary. If some cause division, they do not learn wisdom, because they cause division and are not friends. They are enemies. But those who live in the harmony and friendship of love of brother and sister, naturally, and not only out of necessity, completely, and not merely in part, those truly reflect the will of the Father. That is universal and perfect love. Adam was a joke. He was created by the ruler of the seventh realm in a phony way, in the shape of a human, as though he had become stronger than I and my siblings. We are blameless towards him, and we have not sinned. Abraham was a joke, as were Isaac and Jacob, since they were called patriarchs in a phony way by the ruler of the seventh realm, as though he had become stronger than I and my siblings. We are blameless towards him, and we have not sinned. David was a joke, since his son was named Son of Humanity and was put in power by the ruler of the seventh realm, as though he had become stronger than I and my kin. We are blameless toward him. We have not sinned. Solomon was a joke, since he became arrogant through the ruler of the seventh realm and thought he was anointed, as though he had become stronger than I and my siblings. We are blameless toward him. I have not sinned. The 12 prophets were a joke, since they appeared as imitations of the true prophets. They came in a phony way through the ruler of the seventh realm, as though he had become stronger than I and my siblings. We are blameless toward him, and we have not sinned. Moses was a joke, called a faithful servant and friend. The testimony about him was wrong, since he never knew me. He did not know me, and none of those before him, from Adam to Moses and John the Baptizer, knew me or my siblings. They had instruction from angels to observe food laws and submit to bitter slavery. They never knew truth, and they never will, because their souls are enslaved, and they can never find a mind with freedom to know, until they come to know the Son of Humanity. On account of my Father, I was the one the world did not know, and for this reason it rose up against me and my siblings. But we are blameless toward it. We have not sinned. The ruler was a joke, for he said, I am God, and no one is greater than I. I alone am Father and Lord, and there is no other beside me. I am a jealous God, and I bring the sins of the fathers upon the children for 3 and 4 generations, as though he had become stronger than I and my siblings. We are blameless toward him, and we have not sinned. In this way we mastered his doctrine, but he is conceited and does not agree with our Father. He was a joke, with his judgment and false prophecy. O you who cannot see, you do not perceive that on account of your blindness this one is unknown. Neither did those people ever know or understand him. They would not listen to an accurate account of him, and so they practiced their lawless justice and raised their filthy, murderous hands against him as if they were beating the air. Those who are mindless and blind are always mindless, always slaves of law and worldly fear. I am Christ, Son of Humanity, one from you who is within you. For you I am despised, that you may dismiss what is impermanent. Don't become female, lest you give birth to evil and what is related, jealousy, dissension, anger, wrath, dishonesty, and greed. To you I am an ineffable mystery. Once, before the foundation of the world, when the whole multitude of the assembly in the realm of the 8 came together and made plans, they united in spiritual marriage. The marriage was consummated in these ineffable places by means of a living word, through the mediator Jesus, who dwells in all of them and rules over them with pure, profound love. He transformed himself and appeared as a single manifestation of all of them, as thought, Father, one. He stands apart from them, for he came forth all by himself. He is life, he from the Father of truth, ineffable, perfect, the Father of those there, the unity of peace, friend of the good, eternal life and spotless joy, in complete harmony of life and faith, through eternal life of fatherhood, motherhood, sisterhood, and rational wisdom. These were one with mind that extends itself, that will extend itself in joyful union. He is honored and listens faithfully to the one. This is in fatherhood, motherhood, brotherhood of the word and wisdom. This is a wedding of truth, incorruptible rest in a spirit of truth in every mind, perfect light in unnamed mystery. This does not happen and will not happen among us in any regions and locales where there is dissension and disruption of peace. Rather, this is union, a feast of love, and all who are fulfilled in the one who is. This love also is to be found in the regions under heaven that are joined in the realms above. Those who have come to know me through salvation and unity, and those who have lived for the glory of the Father in truth, once were separate, but they have been united with the one through the living word. I I am in the spirit of truth of motherhood, where unity is, and I am with those who are always friends to each other. They know nothing of enmity and wickedness, but they are united by my knowledge in word and peace, which dwells completely with everyone and in everyone. Those who have taken on the likeness of my form will take on the likeness of my word, and they will emerge in light forever, in mutual friendship and the Spirit. They have come to know fully and completely that the one who is and all are one. They have been taught about the one and the assembly and the members of the assembly. For the Father of the all is immeasurable and immutable, mind, word, division, jealousy, fire, yet he is simply one, all in single principle, because all are from a single spirit. O you who cannot see, why really didn't you know the mystery? The archons around Yaldabaoth were disobedient because of the thought that came down to him from Sophia, the sister of thought, and they got together with those who were with them in conflagration of a fiery cloud, which was their jealousy, along with all the others produced by their own creatures. They acted as though they had brought together the noble pleasure of the assembly. Instead, they showed their own collective ignorance through a phony image of fire and earth and murder. They are few, they are uneducated, and they are ignorant. They were bold to do these things, but they did not understand that light associates with light, and darkness with darkness. And what is impure associates with what is perishable, and what is imperishable with what is pure. This is what I have presented to you. I am Jesus the Christ, Son of humanity, exalted above the heavens. You who are perfect and undefiled, I have presented this to you on account of the mystery that is undefiled and perfect and ineffable, that you understand that we ordained these things before the foundation of the world, so that when we appear throughout the world, we may present the symbols of incorruption from the spiritual union with knowledge. You do not know this because of the cloud of flesh that overshadows you. It is I who am the friend of Sophia. From the beginning, I have been close to my Father, where the children of truth are, and the majesty. Rest in me, my friends in spirit, my brothers and sisters, forever.